Good morning again, First Baptist, and welcome to our third Sunday series of Blessed Heroes of Black History. We thank you all so much for being here this morning, and today we want to recognize another one of our very own, Sister Gladys Shaw. Sister Shaw has been magnificent in her duties and responsibilities as a greeter of this church. So, without further ado, let us get into our church chat.
God bless you, church family. We're here with the church chat. We have here with us this morning Sister Gladys Shaw. God bless you, Mama. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm doing very good.
Good. I'm glad. I'm
Yes,
glad that you
yes,
have
yes.
taken the time to be with us today as we just celebrate what God is doing in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been great.
I tell you, you have such an amazing history and
Right.
testimony, and we just want to take the time to share with the people what God has done in, on, and through you. So tell me a little bit about your experience here in Burlington, the things that you've accomplished and all of the things that you've done here.
Well, actually, I was born in Burlington.
Okay.
And graduated from Jordan Sellis High School.
Wonderful.
But then about 4 or 5 months after graduation, I moved to New York with my sister.
Wow.
And was with her for at least 16 years. And actually, that's where I met my husband.
Yes.
And we had our children.
Yes.
And the reason for moving back to Burlington, we wanted to get them away from the bright lights of the city.
Yes.
And so we moved back home to Burlington, and we bought our house here.
Wonderful.
And so that's about it.
Wonderful. So
And,
how did you get to this church?
Well, actually, I grew up in First Baptist.
Really?
First Baptist, yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So tell us about
and
the
was
days.
baptized
Yes.
in First Baptist, and actually, I've gone through Reverend Stiles. Reverend Cobb was prior to Reverend Stiles,
Yes.
and actually Reverend Cobb was the minister here when I returned back home.
Really?
To First Baptist.
Okay.
And
okay.
we're just family.
Yes.
All my family. We grew up here.
I tell you, this is a wonderful
Yeah,
church
it
and
is.
a
It
wonderful
is.
group of people. I'm so
Well, thank
thankful.
you.
I'm
Yes.
thankful to be here and glad to have met you. Now, you have told me stories about the housing authority and your years of working there
Right,
and the time that you've retired and even came back.
Right.
So how did you first start working for the housing authority here?
Well, actually, I worked with adult basic education prior to moving back to
Got you.
Burlington.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was in conversation with Monroe McVeigh from the technical college here. And they needed someone to operate the after-school adult education program with the Burlington Housing Authority.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, when I moved back home, everything was in place. And I started working with Burlington Housing Authority with adult basic education classes. And while I was there, you know, I always have that listening ear.
Yes, ma'am.
Always listening.
Yes, ma'am.
And my students were adults, and they were residents of Burlington Housing Authority. So I'm listening, and they said, oh, we got to go to the office for recertification. But see, and I had been in that office several times, and I'd only seen one worker. And I'm wondering, how is she going to be able to accomplish all of this?
Yes, ma'am.
So Charles Coleman was the executive director. So I had a conversation with the maintenance worker, John Crump. And I says, Mr. Crump, do you think maybe they would need some help in the office?
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know, talk with Charles Coleman.
Nice.
And I talked with Charles Coleman, and I had the adult basic education class, plus I had a part-time job at the Housing Authority, assisting with the recertification of the residents. And from that point, Charles Coleman says, well, you know, we need to maybe an after-school enrichment program for the children. So it was already an operation. But what I did, I worked for 20 years as the housing manager for Burlington Housing Authority.
Wow.
I was not connected with the after-school program at that time.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I retired after 26, I think it was 26 years working at Burlington Housing Authority, and I actually managed the Burlington homes.
Wow.
I was the first housing manager for Burlington homes and also Spencer Brown Thomas Home.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are our
Right,
apartments.
right. And I want to get into that. I do want to get into that. But before we do that, tell me some of the highs and lows of working for the Housing Authority in your time.
Well, actually, you really have to be able to communicate with people.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Knowing that, you know, most of the people in the public housing, they were there because of probably whatever the reason might be.
Yes, ma'am.
But you've got to have respect for them and understand their plight and what's happening with them. So I think that's what happened. And, you know, we would go out not only for to collect rents and recertification and things like that. We also did housing inspections.
Wow.
And to make sure that they were keeping their houses as per the spec, you know.
Right, the requirements.
So that was one of the things, and I was able to get along and know with all of them, and actually knew them and their families, and most of them know me.
Yes, ma'am.
Unless, you know, they moved on, a lot of them have.
Yes, ma'am.
That's about, you know,
that's great.
What I did, and I enjoyed every moment of it and had respect for them, and they also respected me.
Yes, ma'am.
So actually, when I decided to retire, that's when Mr. Crump and Mr. Mangum were no longer with us. Mr. Mangum was there then. He was the executive director.
Yes, ma'am.
So I retired for about 2 years, and I did substitute teaching in the school, you know, filled in the schools for about a year. And I had a niece who had graduated from law school and who grew up in the public housing.
Wow.
And I felt maybe when they had speakers to come in, maybe they would like to have her join them. And sure enough, she did. She was invited back, and she joined them and for a program. And that's when Mr. Mangum asked me if I would be interested in the after-school enrichment program.
Yeah.
So that's how it began.
Great,
just
great,
working, just because I'm always this spirit. When I hear something, I'll go for it. You know, whatever it is. And actually, I was there to get that program started and set up for about a year. And that lasted about another almost 14 years.
I love it.
And finally, I said, well, listen, I know I'm just getting too old, and all these young people, they need jobs. And I just felt guilty taking the jobs away from younger people.
Yes, ma'am.
And actually, to this day, if I wasn't as old as I am, I'd be working.
I love it. I
really enjoyed it.
And I know they would love for you to be there for sure.
I really enjoyed working with the Burlington Housing Authority.
So total number of years, how long have you been working for the Housing Authority?
6. I was 30, I think 35 when I started working there. And I retired at about almost 78, 79. Wow. So a number of years.
That's about 44 years.
And enjoyed every moment of it.
Wow,
that's
amazing.
I really did. And I think that most of the residents there had respect for me.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I tell you, you are one of the sweetest ladies I know. But one thing I know, don't you play with Miss Shaw.
Well.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
You know, that's just me.
Absolutely.
I mean, I am who I am.
Absolutely.
I say to anybody, there's nothing phony about me.
I
I'm
know
for
it.
real.
I know it. I know it, and we appreciate every bit of it. Now, tell us a little bit about Spencer Brown Thomas Homes. That's
Oh.
something that belongs to us
That's
as a
First
church.
Baptist, yes.
Yes. So tell us about that.
First Baptist, Spencer Brown Thomas Homes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was housing manager for Burlington Homes, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, Spencer Brown Thomas Home, that's my house.
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
my home. So actually, it was just understood that a housing manager had to be there, present,
Yes, ma'am.
and I was the one who was qualified, and I moved right into it. So, and I managed Spencer Brown Thomas Homes until I retired.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Now let's get to one more thing before we let you go, and I appreciate you participating in the church chat. Now you are the hospitality leader of the hospitality here at the church.
Yes.
Explain to us what the hospitality ministry does, how long you've been leading the charge, and tell us about it.
All right. I have been hospitality chair for a number of years, and this was after the death of the original hospitality chair.
Yes, ma'am.
And she asked me, because she was getting sick and she was wanting to step down, and she asked me if I would fill her shoes,
Yes,
step
ma'am.
up, and I did.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't think she was as old as I am when when she stepped down, but still, what happened, I'm still the chair, but you know, with the COVID and everything,
Yes,
it has
ma'am.
sort of
Lightened up a little
lightened
bit.
up a lot.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we always welcome people to the church, and whatever is needed, funerals, we welcome the people as they enter the church.
Yes, ma'am.
We help with homecoming. We just let you know that First Baptist is the place to be, the
Yes,
church
it is.
to
It
to
is a
be,
church to be.
come.
Some
That's
wonderful
true.
people here at First
Definitely,
Baptist, and
definitely.
such a rich
Yes,
history.
yes.
And I just believe, you know, even during this time where we celebrate our history, that we should take the time to acknowledge our history.
That's true. Now,
you know.
Catherine Enoch.
Yes, ma'am.
Catherine Enoch was the original chair.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Her husband was Deacon Enoch.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
So, but I just wanted to mention that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, of course, with my sister Virginia Hewling, she was a member here.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Emily Thompson. Lassie Reeves was my mother. Dan Reeves. So we were the Reeves.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Thompsons and the Virginia Hewling.
I love
and we
it.
were all, you know, here. They were
ma'am.
people who held positions here
Yes,
at the
ma'am.
church for years ago.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I want you to know I personally appreciate the kindness that you've extended, the love and the hospitality, if you will, that you've extended to my family, being newbies here at First Baptist. We want you to know that we certainly appreciate all that you've done, all that you do, you know, and all that you will continue to do as you serve in this capacity, and just love on the people. The thing I love about you as it pertains to hospitality is that it's natural. It's not something, like you said, you're not fake, you're not phony. No. It is something that is natural. I know that when I'm greeted by you, when I encounter you, that it is genuine and from the heart. My kids feel it, my wife feels it, and I have no doubt that this entire church feels that.
Well, I'm really glad, because that's me.
Yes.
That's just the way I am.
Yes.
You know.
And so we just thank you, and we love you and appreciate you. I want you to look at this camera right here, and I want you to encourage some young people about serving the Lord and just being happy about it. Can you do that?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try.
I love it.
Because I want them all to know that coming to First Baptist or just getting involved in the church, and this is something that you would take with you throughout your life.
Yes.
Because I have fond memories of the young girl who used to sing in the youth choir.
I love it.
Oh, I did so many things, usher board, youth usher board, and just getting involved. And it means a lot, and to think when you get as old as I am, you can think back and have fond memories of all the years and time that you spent at First Baptist Church.
Yes.
serving God and all the people.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, y'all. This is our church chat, and I tell you, I'm excited about what God is doing in this place. I challenge you to get involved, get to work, put your hand to the plow, and you know that God will bless you. As we've stated, there's a rich history here at the Real First Baptist Church of Burlington, and as you get involved, you become part of the great things that God is doing. Thank you again, Mother Shaw, for your time with us and your ability to share. We want you to know as a church family that we appreciate you. We appreciate how you are part of this, the history of this wonderful city, how you're a part of the history of this wonderful church, and we want you to know that God has a blessing in store for you because of your faithfulness.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.